Hey, welcome to Planet Hex. I'm Andrew Hawnt. It has occurred to me that on this channel I haven't yet spoken about Ghostbusters much. I mentioned them in my video about 1080s toy lines that I really loved, but I really haven't mentioned Ghostbusters, especially the new movie, Afterlife, and I wanted to bring that up before it came out. So I was a little bit worried about Afterlife, to be honest, when I heard it was announced. I know that a lot of fans still feel bummed out by the 2016 remake, which has since been renamed Ghostbusters Answer the Call, the reboot. But, you know, get over it. That was made. It was a thing. You know, people still complaining that they made a Ghostbusters movie with ladies. Seriously, grow up. You know, the movie, that's fine. It's not to everyone's taste, and that's fine. But when I heard that actual Ghostbusters 3 from the original franchise, from the original version of the franchise, a continuation was going to be made, alarm bells started ringing. So it's been a long time since the last live-action Ghostbusters movie. I mean, it was December 1989 that Ghostbusters 2 came out, and that came in for a lot of hassle from fans, just because it wasn't like the first one. Now, to be honest, the first one is pretty damn near perfect. I adore that film. I've loved it since I was about 10 years old. I discovered it in the late 80s, and it's just a marvellous piece of genre cinema. It's a little bit scary, it's funny, it's entertaining, it's exciting, and I was worried that with the new one, whether that would be able to be recaptured. Very little was really known about it. There was a poster that we saw with Ecto-1 on it for a while, and then we got the teaser, and I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, because that teaser, it was nothing like the first two Ghostbusters movies. In the teaser for Afterlife, we didn't see anyone from the original movie. Not at all. There was new cast members. You know, we saw Paul Rudd, and we saw the new young cast members, and we saw Egon's granddaughter, and we saw a little glimpse of Ecto-1, but we didn't see anything of the original Ghostbusters. So I wasn't sure about this. It felt more like an epilogue, you know, an afterward, a little revisiting of what came before, rather than a new entry in the original Ghostbusters franchise. And that was just that. I was a little bit disappointed with that first teaser, but then when the second trailer came out and the full trailer came out, we got a little glimpse of Ray at the end, of course, in his occult box store. We got some glimpses of the old Ghostbusters adverts from the first movie. We're ready to believe you. We even got a glimpse of Annie Potts returning as Janine Melnitz, and that was just brilliant. I got really excited by that, and it wasn't just the trailer that really turned me around to this movie, the idea of this movie. It was the fact that Ivan Reitman saw it and loved it. Jason Reitman, the son of Ivan, who's made the movie, has been so meticulous in kind of recreating the feel and the atmosphere of that first movie. And through spoiler images of the action figure line, we do see the original Ghostbusters, the surviving Ghostbusters, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson, do return in the flight suits with proton packs as Peter Venkman, Ray Stanton and Winston Zemeckis. So that's just fantastic. That's what me as a fan, as a long-term fan, have always wanted to see, is see those guys suit up again. I guess it may not happen in the movie until the third act, so I'm guessing I would imagine that their time is limited, because the new generation of Ghostbusters, that's what this movie is all about. Introducing them and getting them together into a cohesive unit that can battle ghosties. And I'm all for that. I always thought that there was long since been rumours of a Ghostbusters 3 with the original cast, and it's long been said to be a passing of the torch from the original cast to a new generation of Ghostbusters, and that's always sort of been the idea of Ghostbusters 3 from what we've heard over the years. And to see it come to fruition is just so cool. I am sold on this movie now, and I'm really looking forward to it. Ghostbusters was a huge part of my pop culture development when I was a kid. The original movie blew my mind. I loved Ghostbusters 2. I loved it. And I was a massive fan of the real Ghostbusters, the animated series, which is still, to this day, one of the greatest animated series ever made. Honestly, it's just fantastic. It's so fun. Slimer's great. The cast are great. Lorenzo Music as Peter Venkman is just a delight to watch. It's a joy. Especially, my favourite episode will always be Knock Knock, where, do not open till doomsday. But there's so much of Ghostbusters that was important to me. There's the cartoon, the movies, the action figures, the books, the comics, the toys. I had all the action figures. I had Ecto 1. I never had the Firehouse, though, which is a shame. But, can't have everything. I had Ecto 1. I had the Proton Pack. I even went as far as borrowing one of my mum's old jumpsuits, bear in mind this was the 80s, to turn into a Ghostbusters uniform. So there are photos somewhere of me with a Proton Pack on, my mum's jumpsuit, which I've stuck some sellotape, some Ghostbusters insignia to it that I'd drawn, and I'm posing in my grandma's garden with the Proton Pack. And when we got the photos developed, I painted a proton energy beam to it, capturing a ghost. So, that's an early version of Photoshop. It was the 80s. We had to make do with what we had. But Ghostbusters is a hugely important pop culture icon, and it has been since the mid-80s. It's not just something that came and went, it's something that came and never went away. There's been cartoons, there's been the later iteration of the real Ghostbusters cartoon with Slimer and the real Ghostbusters. There was Extreme Ghostbusters, there was very popular video games, there's been loads of comics, there's still been collectibles released to this day, and it's just wonderful to see this franchise getting back to its roots. I didn't have an issue with Answer the Call. I didn't have a problem with that at all. It was what it was. But my heart will always lie with the original Ghostbusters, and it's brilliant to see them coming back. And I'm so grateful to Ivan Reitman and Jason Reitman for being involved with this. One of the greatest books ever written, in my opinion, regarding any movie is Making Ghostbusters. And that got me absolutely hooked into making movies and how things were made and how special effects were done. If you're ever able to find a copy of that, it is incredible. But what I would say, this movie is set to have an on-screen dedication to Harold Ramis, the late Harold Ramis. Of course, he was Egon Spengler and co-wrote the original two Ghostbusters movies with Dan Aykroyd. And if you want some Harold in your life while you're waiting for the new Ghostbusters movie Afterlife to come out, do check out Violet Ramis Steele's Life with My Dad, Harold Ramis, Ghostbusters' Daughter. This is excellent. This is a really interesting look at the life, what it was like living with Harold Ramis as your dad, and it's quite surprising. In a lot of ways, it's quite a surprising book, but it is excellent. Do check that out, just so you get your Harold Ramis fill in the run-up to seeing Afterlife. So Ghostbusters Afterlife, I wasn't sold on it. I thought it was going to be a mistake. And looking at that first teaser, I was like, oh no, what's happened here? But, opinions change. I think this is going to be fantastic. Welcome back, Ghostbusters. You see, the answer to who you're going to call, I think we always knew what it was. Thanks for watching Planet Hex.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.